What's going on, guys? This is the 100 TV. Today, I'm getting straight into it. If you haven't heard, which I know you probably have by now, another tragedy has occurred in the hip hop community, our community. We lost the life of another rapper, entertainer, performer, more importantly, father, brother, son, Pnb Rock. I wanted to definitely do my spin or my take, my interpretation on the matter, because at the end of the day, none of us have all the details. None of us know all the facts. I'm getting it like you guys are. But I've seen some things. I've been through some things. So I definitely want to touch on this and how it pertains to a lesson that I learned in prison. 2003, I was sentenced to 16 years. Well, I was sentenced to 19 years, but I ended up doing 16 years, 11 months in prison. Um, I learned while in prison what I knew prior to that. And that's that everybody's not for you. When I was in the streets and I was starting to do good for myself, yeah, there were people rooting for me. There were people that were happy to see me, climbing the ladder, so to say. But there were definitely people that were against me elevating or moving up the ranks, so to say, or just making progress in life. In prison, what I learned, hands down, is not only that you could be doing good in an environment where supposedly everybody wants to see you make it out, because nobody should want to be in prison. Um, but no matter what, while you're climbing the ranks, while you're doing that, while I was being positive in prison and doing the things that I needed to do once I matured and grew up in prison, people were not happy. Everybody was not happy. There were people that were supportive of what I had going on. There were people that were supportive of what I was doing. But there were people that were envious, man. And envious over what, to this day I couldn't tell you, because I was locked up just like them. Was I able to move a little different? Yeah. Was I able to maybe accomplish more? Yeah. But I worked hard. I politicked. I networked. I understood how to make moves behind prison walls, etc. So I started climbing. But what we can never forget, and what we always must remember, and it kind of got spotlighted for me while I was incarcerated, is that evil does exist. Now, some of y'all are saying, well, aren't you, or what do you consider yourself? You ended up in prison for 16 years, 11 months. Well, if you know my story, you know that I was the driver in a robbery, never got out, never touched the vehicle. Nobody was physically harmed in our crime that we committed. And I say, because I hold myself accountable. Um, but while I'm not justifying what I did, I will just say that there's levels. When I was in prison, I understood really quick that I didn't belong there. I wasn't able to go home right away, but I understood real quick the difference between somebody that was dabbling in the streets, like myself, jumping out there, really didn't have to, but did, versus somebody that's all they know, that's all they want to know. They're plotting. They're looking at you. They're looking at what they can acquire off you. They're looking at what they can use you for. They're just looking to capitalize. There are people like that in every part of the globe, I'm sure, but definitely right here in the hood, man. When people are hungry, when people are starving, especially in a time like this where the prices are going up, people are getting evicted more and more. Rental protections being lifted in different states, etc. The tension is up. Mental health issues are being unchecked. Everybody just went through COVID. A lot of people lost loved ones that they were connected to. A lot of people lost jobs. A lot of people lost places that they were in society financially. There's a lot going on. You got to know that at any given time, somebody could be watching you. Somebody could be plotting on you. Somebody could be saying to themselves, oh, we got us one. Now, I don't know the details when it comes to Pnb Rock situation. It's a tragedy. It's unfortunate, and my condolences definitely go out to his family, his loved ones, anybody that's connected to him. But I just want to use his situation to highlight a certain point, because there's plenty of us that walk out these doors. We hop into these expensive cars. We put on the jewelry. We put on the clothes. We post stuff on social media. We put targets on our back inadvertently. We brag too much. We're loud too much. Now, I'm not saying that was his intentions. And there are some people that are saying, well, his girlfriend dropped the location, and, that's how he ended up getting robbed, and then, or attempted to rob, and then eventually shot, to death. I don't know that to be true. I wasn't there. I do know that I did check out his story, and just prior to, he was wearing a lot of jewelry, man. He was wearing a lot of ice on his neck, and he was in Inglewood at that. He was in the hood. He was at Roscoe's, which is right down the street from the airport. So a lot of people do stop there. But at the same time, if you're not from that hood, if you don't know what's going on, you wearing jewelry, you putting a target on your back. Why not have security with you? Why not have somebody with you? You got to know that though there's plenty of people that were celebrating PNB, there were other people that were looking at them, you know, like a come up. Somebody, I don't know, I haven't even got back into social media except to put this post. Somebody somewhere, 9 times out of 10, um, may or may not be bragging, thinking that they got something to brag about, that they took somebody's life. And that's how jacked up society is. There are a lot of people that are willing to shoot guns, take lives, etc., without really too much of a reason. If I could convince anybody I rock with, anybody watching this video, is to learn something from this situation. Again, we weren't there. We don't know all the details. But if you're one that's getting money out there in them streets, or not, if you just got a good job and you're doing well for yourself, if you're one that wears jewelry, if you're one that flosses and flexes, you know what I'm saying? If you're one that posts your locations and you're posting stacks of money, etc., whatever it is, you've got to know that there is a very big chance that you could end up with a target on your back. And let me tell you something. When somebody puts a target on your back and you don't even know they put it there, that's the worst. When you got an enemy or somebody plotting on your downfall, demise, or destruction, that's the worst. Again, we don't know exactly what happened, but when he walked in there with his jewelry, you don't think people noticed? What if the wrong person noticed? What if it was somebody that made a call in there and say, we got us one? What if it was somebody just sitting there, didn't even know he was going to cross paths with this guy, with Pnb Rock? He walks in with his jewelry. This guy needs to pay his rent. He shot his shot. Now, what's crazy is they took his life. I don't know if he bucked. If he did, that's unfortunate. I just want to convince everybody again, hopefully, if somebody robs you, runs down on you, attempts to carjack, etc., it's physical items. Let them go. You can get them back. If they're insured, if not, hustle, get it back. But don't ever jeopardize your life over something that's not as expensive as yours, that doesn't hold as much value as yours. Again, I don't know the situation, but I can say this. What happened to PNB happens probably every day in a hood near you. We constantly hear about it. We see about it in news, robberies and murders, home invasions, carjackings, all of these things. Society is getting angrier, more agitated, and it seems to me that the sharks are getting hungrier. If you wearing jewelry, etc., know when to do that. Know that it's okay not to brag. A lot of people trying to hold up and maintain an image. I'm not saying that's him, but a lot of us are. But at what cost? We've seen people, a lot of these youngins, man, they're willing to post anything that'll risk their lives, their freedom, etc., just for the views. Some people are chasing clout. So when they seen him, that might have been a situation right there. They wanted to get his chain, etc. We know what goes on. We see the posts and we watch YouTube. We see all this. We see what goes on in the hood. Hopefully you learning from all of it, man. Pay attention to your surroundings. Don't go in there with a sense like everything is all good and everything's going to be okay, because at any given time, somebody could be watching you. Somebody could be plotting on you. Don't drop your location. Again, not saying that that's the situation, but stop dropping your location. If you feel the need to share where you're at on social media, do that afterwards. Do that after you leave the spot. You could post an hour later after you left. You could still, share with people if that's what you want to do, but be strategic about it. We're giving up too much information and just locations, all of that on the internet, and it's getting a lot of us in trouble. If that was the case, he wasn't the first and he won't be the last. It's unfortunate, man. I'm just looking at it all different, angles, and I'm just thinking about the fact that he walked in there to enjoy a meal before he was probably hopping on a flight, and just like that, which leads me to my next point. Don't take nothing for granted. A lot of times I'm seeing people, or what I see people living out here like there's a reset button, etc. There's not a reset button. If you lose your life, it's over. If you end up in penitentiary, whatever time you're sentenced to, you're not getting back. The best you can do is to make the best of it while you're in there. But nonetheless, stop jeopardizing your life for clout. Stop trying to show off for the world. If you're on the opposite end, know that, yeah, you might be able to come off them for 2,000-3,000 or maybe more, 50. I don't know how much jewelry, whatever, but at what cost? How long are you going to remain free before you get caught? We see law enforcement, they're getting smarter and smarter, but more importantly, the streets are constantly talking. Social media, I've seen people solve cases on social media just by identifying certain things in certain videos. And never mind the people that are just spectating. I think one of the worst parts of yesterday's tragedy was the posting of when he got shot. I'm not posting that video out of respect for his family, his loved ones. But what I seen, because I did check it out, I seen somebody that was fighting for his life. At one point he was on his stomach, I believe, and he turned over to his back. And you could see he was fighting. And I think somebody said at one point he's thirsty. And a lot of times, if you've been around certain things or you know what's going on, when somebody's losing a lot of blood and they say they're thirsty, it's not always the best sign. I remained optimistic and you just hoping that he pulled through, and not even an hour later, it came up that he was deceased. I'm thinking about what was going through the minds of the people that were filming it. What was their intent? What was their intent on filming the moment? Were they doing it just for views? Were they doing it to document evidence for law enforcement? Like, what were they doing? Why were they not assisting? I don't know. It's just tough, man. Society's different. Social media impacts so much, as we can see. There's really no limits on it like that, but we got to start applying limits to ourselves. One of the greatest quotes I ever heard from one of the OGs in the pen basically went like this: learn to check yourself before somebody else does, man. I think that says it all. Self-explanatory. Again, it's a tragedy. Condolences to anybody that, was connected to PNB. We got to do better. We got to stop. We got to figure out a way to get the violence decreased, the anger, the anxiety, all of these things decreased. We got to get people to understand you're going to either end up in a pine box or in prison if you live and move a certain way. And we got to get people to understand that life can be so much different, man. I didn't want to hop up here too long. I just wanted to give my 2 cents on this. I might hop up here again later. But it's serious, man. That's all I can say. Till next time, man. Peace, love, and blessings. Stay focused. Always keep it 100, because if you're not keeping it 100 with yourself, how you going to keep it 100 with anybody else, man? Till next time. Hey, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. We building the content up. Some big interviews coming up with Lockdown 23-1, Alexander Denning, a couple other major platforms in my eyes and in a lot of people's eyes. So I'm excited about that. We're getting the podcast going, more guests coming up. Continue to check out all the content and all the platforms. Like, subscribe, follow, comment, all that stuff. Run us up in the algorithms. And until next time, man, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. We'll be back. Peace.